This week on CWN, it's prom night in Calallen.
And the Floral Design has been busy. I'm Kendall.
I'm Nathan, and today is Saturday, April 23rd, 2022. And you're watching Calallen Wildcat News Weekly Review. You know, Kendall, I have to say, it's going to be a good day, I think.
Why do you say that?
Well, you know, we're here filming another episode for KRISTV, which is great as always, and tonight is senior prom.
That is very true, but let's kick it off to see what band is up to. And starting with that, one of our great reporters, Cooper, caught up with Mr. Valpertz to see how the wind ensemble performance at UIL last Thursday did. Let's go ahead and send it over to them for the rundown.
Hi, I'm here with Mr. Valpertz, the Calallen High School band director. I understand y'all had a competition, UIL competition this weekend. Can you tell us about what it was about and how y'all did?
Yeah, very good. Last week we performed at the UIL Concert and Sight Reading Assessment, and this was held at Calallen High School last week. And for that kind of event, both of our symphonic band and our wind ensemble both performed there, and they have to go on stage, they have to play the concert pieces in front of a panel of judges, and they have to go in the sight reading room and play in front of a panel of judges. In the sight reading room, they get 7 minutes to look at a brand new piece of music that they've never seen before. We have to talk them through it, and at the end of that 7 minutes, they have to play it perfectly. So it was fantastic performances for both of our bands, the symphonic band and the wind ensemble. They both received straight ones on stage from all three of the judges, and they both received straight ones in sight reading. And those are the highest ratings that you can get in the state of Texas. We're very proud of them.
And are these the last UIL competitions for the school year?
Yeah, we still have the state solo and ensemble contest that will be held on at UT Austin, and that'll be happening in May. But as far as the big events, those are individual events. As far as the big events, this is the last big event that we do for the year.
All right. I know our band's pretty good. I mean, there's trophy room everywhere. There's trophies, right? But, all right. Thank you, Mr. Valpertz. That's all from here. Back to the studio.
Music to my ears, quite literally. It's pretty good to see Calallen band performing well, and always great to check it out.
It really is.
FCA had their bi-monthly huddle last Monday night. David caught up with Coach Ashburn to learn about all they do and how it is open to all students. Let's take a look.
This is David with Calallen TV, and I'm here with Coach Ashburn. And Coach Ashburn, you had an event yesterday called FCA, and could you go on a little bit more about that and what that is?
Sure. Every other Monday we have this thing called the FCA Huddle. And what we do, all the members of FCA, which is Fellowship of Christian Athletes, gets together in the gym for fellowship and games and food and stuff. Last night, some of the youth pastors from Journey Church and Church of Hope came out and provided us some food and pizza from your place, and give us a little worship and some studying of the Bible.
Sure, sounds amazing. And you also have another event on Friday called Extra Innings, and could you go on a little bit more about that as well?
Sure. Extra Innings is something we do in the spring. In the fall, we call it fifth quarter because it's after the football game. But in the spring, we call it Extra Innings because on Friday there's a softball game and a baseball game here at Calallen. And after those games, from 9 to midnight, we're going to have what we call Extra Innings, where we have the gyms open. We have several churches come and they help supply us with food and games and blow up things and stuff like this. So all the kids from 6th grade through 12th grade are invited to come, spend some time between 9 and midnight. Same sort of thing. It's like huddle, but just bigger. And it lasts for hours. So come out, go support the baseball and softball teams, then come out and have a little worship with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Sir, and hopefully those events go good for you. And that's all from us. Now back to you.
Did you go to the FCA the other night in the Extra Innings?
I did go check out both events, and they're both really good. It's great to see students have a nice environment to come together as one here in school, and it creates a nice non-denominational environment for these kids, and it's something I hope Calallen continues with for many years to come.
It definitely really is cool, and those games look kind of intense and really fun.
It's competitive.
Now we're going to go ahead and take it over to science with Jonathan, who caught up with Miss Brandon about a crystallization lab that they did.
I'm Jonathan Lauda from Calallen TV, and I'm here with Miss Brandon. So I heard that you're doing a lab in chemistry. Can you please tell me more about that?
Well, they're going to learn how to make a supersaturated solution. Supersaturated solution is one that holds a lot more of the stuff being dissolved than it would normally hold. And then they're going to immerse a pipe cleaner, and over time the solution, the crystals will come out of solution and form on their pipe cleaner. and that'll be like a few days later. They'll watch it over a few days' time, and they'll see just exactly how many crystals can come out of a supersaturated solution.
What are we trying to learn from this?
Well, we've been talking about the 3 different types of solutions. We've talked about a saturated solution, which is one that holds all the solute that it can possibly hold, and an unsaturated solution, which is one that can still hold a lot more solute in it. And then today we're going to look at the supersaturated to create a little crystal shape out of it.
Sounds really interesting. Can you please tell me, like, how does this happen, or why does it happen?
Well, in a supersaturated solution, you're creating an unequal relationship between the solute and the solvent, and under certain conditions, you can cause all the extra solute that's in solution to come out of solution over time.
Thank you so much for your time. That's it for me now. Back to the studio.
And continuing with science, Mr. Smith, one of our science teachers, teaches both chemistry and physics, which is a huge responsibility. However, he does it with spectacular ease. Let's take it over to Adon, who interviewed him, and let's see what he did in this physics class.
I'm Aiden Fernandez from Calallen TV. I'm joined by Mr. Smith. So, Mr. Smith, I can see that you have a cloth and a balloon.
Rabbit fur.
Oh.
Dead rabbit. See? I don't know. It's been in a physics class for probably 30 years. All right. Go ahead. I got cloth. I got balloon. I got some tape.
All right. So how does this work?
All right. So what the students are actually using more things, but what we're studying right now is electrostatics, or we're just moving charge around. All right. And so we can move. Everything's got electrons on the outside of it, right? And we can move those electrons because different substances have different affinities or likes for electrons. So if I rub this rabbit fur on this balloon, I don't know if we can see on the camera, but you can see how it starts to pull. So we got that static electricity building up. Here, if you don't mind me touching your hair, maybe we'll be able to pull your hair up. See his hair? All right? See, we got like a lot of good static electricity going on. And what we're doing is we're rubbing some electrons around. That's what we're doing. Okay? The students are going to do this in a little more controlled way, with metal, PVC, wool, cloth, and just see what charge they can put on a substance and how they can move the charge around, and then also see how that interacts with the magnetic field. And so that's it's a qualitative lab. We're just looking to see what we can do. But as you can see, we can move lots of charge around. You can get his hair to stand up. So that's what we're doing, charging tape, charging balloons, charging metal, and moving those electrons around.
How powerful is this?
Well, actually, you can calculate the force. All right, the force is proportional to the amount of charge and inversely proportional to the distance. So the closer to a charge you are, the more force you have, and the farther away from the charge, the less force you have. The more electrons I move around, all right? And then how powerful is it? Well, everybody's seen lightning, right? Lightning's just electrostatic charge building up in a cloud, and then it has to go somewhere. So it can be that powerful as lightning. Anybody ever got up in the morning, walked across their carpet, touched a piece of metal? That's static electricity building up on you and you conducting it away.
Dang, this was awesome to hear. That's it from us. Now back to the studio.
You know, Mr. Smith, that is crazy. Teaching both chemistry and physics, definitely not something I'd be able to do.
He has a lot of responsibility, and that's coming from a guy who was neither good at chemistry or physics. So, it's great for him for stepping up to the plate and teaching those good classes, and it looks like he's doing a great job.
And now, this is the 5th week that we'll be showing you GP student reports.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see what's going on across the bridge with our GP Wildcats and check out what's going on their campus. So, Kendall, let's check that out.
Good morning. My name is Emily Mayer, and here's the latest of what's been happening here at GP.
Student Council's Green Week will start from the April 25th to the 29th.
Students can participate by dressing up. There's 5 different dress-up days for each day of the week. And while students are dressing up, you can also take notice of whatever the theme is.
Our GP seniors recently picked up their caps and gowns in preparation for our graduation.
I'm finally able to branch out and become more than just a high school student and start fulfilling my achievements and dreams in life.
Seniors only have 6 Mondays left before we graduate.
Hey, what time is it?
4:33. It's time for sports!
Our golf team won at their district competition and will be advancing to area.
Personally, I'm pretty excited. Being a senior, this might be my last tournament. Hopefully not, but we're going to go out and play our hearts out for sure and try to move on to state.
Our girls track won at the district meet last week and already competed in area.
Maddie Kosick, a senior, repeated her triple jump victory from last year.
Yeah, of course. I mean, winning is always the goal, and so for me to do it 2 years in a row was definitely the plan. I trained a lot over the summer, obviously to like get to where I am today, and then it takes a lot of after-school practice. So we're out on the track between like 2 and 3 hours every single day. It's a lot of effort, a lot of weight room, and a lot of dedication that it takes to like get as far as I did.
Our boys track team came in second place at the same meet.
It always feels good doing good at district. It's who you compete against the entire year. It's who you see in all the meets. Right now, though, the focus is mostly on area because that's the next meet, and then hopefully to regionals, to state. This year is my big goal.
That's all the Wildcat news we have for this week's GPTV Student Report. If you like what you saw, check out these 2 QR codes or the link below. Thanks for watching.
You know, Nathan, it looks like they got their cap and gown recently, and you know we got ours a couple of weeks ago, so it's definitely nice to see that that's all going to be handled. And it, their track did really well, you know, their area right now competing along with ours, which we will get more into with sports.
Yeah, both Wildcats just kind of floating along at that same pace as we get closer to the end of the school year. And I think both senior classes ready for graduation. I can definitely attest to that. Well, like we've been mentioning, our prom is tonight at Richard Borchard Fairgrounds. It is the seniors' last prom and most of the juniors' first prom. It should be a fun night that I am very excited for.
It really is. You know, just a couple hours and we're going to be there. What are you going to eat?
Me and a group are going out to the Republic of Texas. Going to have a little steak dinner and all that.
Definitely a really good place. I've been there a couple times.
Yourself?
We're going to the Vietnam restaurant, me and my friends. So I've never been there, so hopefully it's really good. And Miss Reyes and her floral design class has been steadily busy creating new floral arrangements and also learning about the business side of arranging and pricing flowers. William spoke to Miss Reyes to find out what all the students are learning. Let's check it out.
Hey everybody, I'm here with Calallen TV and I'm here at Floral Design. And we're going to go in there and ask them what they're doing right now and what they've been learning all year. Let's go see.
So my students are actually making flower arrangements for their sponsors. We have 15 arrangements in total, but currently we have 12 sponsors. Right now they're using some carnations, status, some daisy palms, leather leaf, and solid dago. And they're just practicing what they learn, cutting their stems at a 45-degree angle, creating that skeleton shape, and pretty much just practicing what they've learned. So we learn a little bit of everything. They start off with like the color theory and then history of floral. They learn a little bit of plant ID, tool ID. They do learn we're going to be learning about principle and elements, how to design the shape of the arrangement, create the skeleton first. We will also be learning pricing strategies in floral design, so they're going to learn how to price the arrangement at a correct amount depending on the price that they're given for the flowers pretty much. So we learn a little bit of everything here.
Thank you, Ms. Ray, for telling us all about that, but now, back to the studio.
Our Calallen Challenge team went to the semifinals, which was aired on PBS last Thursday. They went against Corpus Christi Veteran Memorial, and let's send it over to Jonathan, who interviewed Ravenna and Cooper to see how they did.
I'm Jonathan Lauder from Calallen TV, and I'm here with Cooper and Ravenna. So I heard that you had a challenge team. Can you please tell me about that?
Okay, so it's KEDT Challenge. It's a thing that's been going on forever, like probably 2 decades at this point, I think. No, this was the 17th season that we just competed in. That's right. Okay, and it's a quiz team that you answer questions for, and we've been doing it since October was our first competition, and they're airing the games still.
So challenge team, we cover like a variety of topics. Like there's questions over anything ever you can think of, and so we are given like a small amount of time to like answer these questions. There's 3 separate rounds in the game. The first round we're just answering questions. The second round, if we get a question right, then we get to answer 3 additional questions for extra points. And in the last round, the whole team can answer, and we're given 60 seconds to complete 10 questions.
What kind of questions did you ask to help?
I did usually the sort of science questions. We kind of specialized a little bit since, I mean, you have to have a broad range of knowledge to answer, to do well. But I generally answered more science-oriented questions and maybe history ones sometimes. So, yeah, and we've done pretty well.
I hope y'all do really good on it.
Thank you.
That's it for me now. Back to the studio.
You know, Nathan, that is so great that they won the semifinals. Great, all those questions. Probably couldn't answer a single one of them, but you can definitely catch them next week at the finals.
Kind of reminds me of the one time that we did a trivia game, you and I smoked you. But without further ado, let's take it to our boy Willie B with the rundown on sports this week.
Thank you, Nathan, and good morning, Wildcats. We are down to our last 4 spring sports, and all of them have or will be advancing past the regular season. Let's start it off with both our golf teams who made it to regionals and played this past week in Colony Creek in Victoria. The boys golf team, led by Marshall Major and J.R. Tindall, did their best to catch up to the leaderboards held by Fredericksburg, Bernie, and Kingsville. They were unable to muster up enough points and ended up in 4th place. Congratulations to them on a great season. However, the girls golf team played on Wednesday and Thursday, falling behind early. Led by Kayla Brotherton, the girls ended their amazing season after winning district but unable to advance to state. Our boys and girls track teams did very well at the district meet this past Thursday. Our boys qualified 18 athletes to move on to the area meet, and our girls won the district title with over 200 points. It was an amazing feat. Let's send it to Curtis with more on the story.
Good morning, Wildcats. It's me, Curtis, and I'm out here on the track where the girls copped a dub in the track meet this past week. You know, they placed first overall with a total of 206 points combined with all the girls, JV and varsity.
The varsity girls were able to score 206 points, and the JV girls team consisting of 9 girls were able to score 134 points.
And a couple high point athletes. I know Carly Haygood and Mia Flores tied for first with 30 points. Brooklyn Metter placed 5th with 20 points. Amber Gonzalez placed 6th with 19 points, and Jillian Curtis placed 8th with 16 points. So, you know, congratulations to all the girls on doing their thing. They completed all their events and, you know, put in points for the dub overall. And you know, every person counts. You know, every point counts. So, you know, you just gotta do your little stuff.
We're extremely proud of them, and Mia Flores and Carly Haygood tied for first place point getter. They both received 30 points for their team.
I got first in the triple jump and 4x1 relay. I got second in long jump, 4th in the 100-meter dash, and 3rd in the 4x2.
So it's truly amazing the way these girls are, you know, competing in other sports besides track and excelling the way they are and doing as good as they are.
It's quite difficult because right after track I have to go immediately to softball, and I don't really get much time in between.
And, you know, track workouts aren't just for track athletes, you know, it's for all athletes. It helps anybody get in shape, right? So, I mean, how has that helped you do what you do?
It helps my endurance, and it helps me stay in shape, and keeps my speed up.
So these girls just got off of a big dub in the district. How are you feeling going into area?
I'm very excited. Last year I didn't make it past district, and I'm very excited to run an area this year.
This has been a long time coming for these girls. They've worked hard. This group of seniors was here through COVID and just really had a lot of resolve. We found ourselves on an upswing last year, qualifying several relays and individuals for the regional meet, and we've been able to build off of that, working hard in our 7th period track class, and we were able to receive some athletes from different sports that have come out and really contributed and helped what we had the basis for. And we're just all super proud of the accomplishments that they've been able to acquire.
At the area track meet in Alice, the results came in late, so we will have those for you next week. Our baseball team played against Alice last Wednesday and won a marvelous victory with the score of 4-1. Wednesday night, the winds were crazy and the boys played a lot of small ball. It was a great game tactic that won them the game. Great job, boys. Moving on to the girls, softball played Tuesday and sadly lost to Alice with the score of 2-0. Last night's game will determine the rankings and seedings in the playoffs, and we will have more information on Calallen's first playoff game next week. And that's the latest on Calallen Sports. Now let's send it back to the anchors.
Now we're going to go ahead and send it over to Jolie with today's weather forecast. What's in store for us today, Jolie?
Thank you, anchors, and good morning, Wildcats. Today's weather is brought to you by Sonic, America's Drive-In. Outside, it is 80 degrees with an 8% chance of rain and those southeast winds blowing at 20 miles per hour. We are getting really excited for prom, as you can't tell. As our day continues, we are staying in the mid-80s, dropping to the 70s at 8 o'clock, right when those doors are going to open. We have minimal chances of rain, so look forward to that. But girls, make sure you use a lot of hairspray because those winds are not slowing down. We are staying above 20 miles per hour through most of the day. At 10 p.m., when the prom doors close, that's when the last people are allowed to be in. It is going to be 76 degrees with a 6% chance of rain, and those wind speeds are cooling down just a little bit, but you still want to get there before they get too bad. There are 27 days until graduation. Let's send it back to the anchors.
Well, thank you very much, Jolie. And you know, we are in that home stretch to graduation. We're almost there.
No. Oh, we're getting so close.
Into the 20s. Well, that's all I have for you today, but now it's time for your joke of the day. So, guys, did you know that Ariel was actually born in a secret lab?
I actually didn't, Nathan.
The lab was under DC.
And for all of you social people out there, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Calallen TV for all of the latest updates. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube to catch all of our latest videos.
And as always,
stay classy, Calallen.